I'm going to introduce you to our two guests. I'm going to start with Miss Tracie. She looks just like her poster looks. We're so excited, Tracie, to have you here joining us tonight. Tracie is a 2016 alumni of Ohio Media School. It was Ohio Center for Broadcasting in Cleveland. When I talked to people that knew Tracie back then, she was energetic and engaging, and she really had a plan going through school to advance herself in the arena that she finds herself in. I know you're going to be very, very inspired by her. You read a little bit of her bio as you signed on tonight. Tracie has a vast experience of working with industry leaders, working with the major networks, and building her brand and her product so that she is in this position where she travels really around the country on projects that she's involved in. Current project that she's a little bit off schedule on right now is VH1, and she's also working for the Black Journalists. Oh, did I get that name right? I'm sorry if I didn't get it quite right,
National
but
Association of Black Journalists.
thank you very much. And she's marketing and doing the PR for them. So Tracie does a vast amount of things, and she's going to share her expertise with you. Philip is our moderator. I think he's having a little technical problem right now. So we actually can get started. Talk a little bit about how what you learned at Ohio Media School prepared you for the pathway that you find yourself on now.
Oh, that's actually a great question, Linda. So, prior to going to the Ohio Media School, I already had my master's degree in communications. But one thing about this industry is you always want to keep learning. So, I wanted to dive more into radio, TV, well, especially radio at the Ohio Media School, which was something I didn't have a strong background in. So, upon entering the Ohio Media School, I focused more on radio, doing the podcast. I never did a podcast before prior to going to Ohio Media School. That opened the door to teach me how to edit because, of course, we did our classes where we went out with the cameras and I filmed and I learned how to edit there. And one thing about this industry, no matter what field, you want to be as marketable as you can. So if you put yourself in a position where I could do this, I could do that, all these different things that encompass media, you will be more marketable and you can negotiate more money because you're coming to the table more experienced than the average person that may want to be involved in this industry.
Very good. So if we unpack that a little bit, and while you did have your college degree, and then came for the hands-on training, when you were going through school, did you really know where it was you wanted to wind up? Or is that something that evolved the more skills that you acquired?
I always knew what I wanted to do. So after I graduated from college, I did move to New York because I got an internship. Well, it was a job at NBC Studios. And for any students, that's a great place to start as well. NBC and CBS have what they call the PAGE program. And in the PAGE program, you now it's rigorous to get in. I will not kid you. I beat out 5,000 applicants. It's rigorous to get in there. It's grueling, but the rewards are so great. Now, your primary job once you get in is to do tours. You have to. They give you 3 tests. You have to know NBC Studios inside and out. You have to know the history, all the shows that were filmed there. But the great thing about the program is once you're in, you get to bid on shows within the studio. Now, of course, your primary job is to do NBC studio tours. People come from all over the world to tour NBC. So you take them inside all the different studios where the shows actually air. So that's another reason why you have to know the studio inside and out. But upon doing that, you can bid on shows. So while I was there, I was able to bid and work on different shows. And that was exciting to actually be on set watching these shows be filmed. I worked on Saturday Night Live, Late Night with Conan O'Brien, Rosie O'Donnell, NBA on NBC back when they had that. So I was able to get a lot of experience because I worked on all those different shows while I was at NBC in the NBC Page program, and it's paid. So that's a great start. And they have a good track record, like 75 to 85% of their employees, they actually hire them out of the Page program because they've already been trained. So it's just easier to just go ahead and hire you in as opposed to starting from scratch. So that's a great segue to get in for anyone who's interested.
Good for you. So that was a move. Was Cleveland your home base at that time? when you went ahead and applied for this?
Yes, I'm born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio. But one thing I always knew for myself is that I wanted my resume to really be busy. I wanted my resume to reflect my diversity in terms of I'll go here, I'll go there, just to get the job, especially if it's a job that I really love. So, of course, if you get the NBC PACE program, you have to move to New York. It's a year commitment. And again, for people who really are serious about this industry, the communications media industry is one. You have to be hungry. This is not the type of industry, if you really want to make money and have longevity, this is not the type of industry, oh, I was tired today, I was a headache today. This is the type of industry you have to be able to fight through all of that. I'm tired, I don't feel good, they told me no, it just was, they were mean to me. You have to have on a strong cloth and be determined to say, no matter what, this is what I want to do. I'm in it for the long haul. And then once that position offers itself, you have to be ready. You have to know, come in on time. Now, me, since I've been working in the industry, always get to work 2 hours early. I never just get there, and I never get there 5 minutes before, 10 minutes before, because in this industry, things go fast and you just never know. And you always want to be caught up of what's going on in the media. So if you're just getting work 10 minutes before, you don't have time to prepare because there's been a natural disaster, there's been a shooting, something happened. You don't have time to prepare for that because you're just walking in the door. So somebody else is going to beat you to the punch for sure.
I love that. So you really always had that awareness that if you weren't doing the work, somebody else was going to grab it from you, I guess is the best way to say that, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. And so, as you were working in this role, do you think that was something that was noticed by the people you were working with?
Absolutely, Linda. And once again, a great question. And I say that because two things: networking, students. If you don't hear anything I say, networking is a must. And I'm sure there's some of you all who came to the event I did with P Valley. Some of you students, you came out, you had your cameras ready to go, you were able to do interviews with Shamika. For those of you who don't know, my close friend Shamika Cotton is actually an actress on the show, on the Stars show, P Valley. It's the #1 rated show on Stars. So I made sure that I extended the invitation out to Ohio Media School students, and there were students that took advantage of that, which was great because you have to see, like, no matter what's going on. I remember one young lady's like, I had to get a babysitter. I'm a little late, but I'm here. But she showed up, and there were so many media people there. So, the president of my organization was there. So it's just, you have to be in the room to grab the opportunities. You will miss up opportunities if you're not in the room. It's just as simple as that. You have to be in the room to grab the opportunities. Who's going to know your name if you're not there? So anyway, backing up to networking and helping other people. So when I was in the NBC Page program, as it was coming down to an end, there was a young lady I saw in the hallway, and she was just like looking disheveled. And I was like, "Hey, how are you?" She was like, "Hey, I came in from Baltimore. I want to get in the NBC Page program. Can you help me?" And that's a program you just don't want to show up at NBC because you're not going to get in. It's like Fort Knox. But luckily, I met her in the hallway. I said, "Come on, I'm gonna take you upstairs. I'm gonna introduce you to the director." I introduced her to everybody. She did her application. I had helped her. Mind you, I just literally met her. And so after that, she left. She didn't get in the PACE program. However, about a month later, after the PACE program ended for me, I'm like, oh my goodness, I may have to pack up and go back to Cleveland. Very next day, I get a call. It's her. Her name was Deandra. She's like, "Hey, Tracy." And now, mind you, it's been a whole year. Haven't talked to her in a year. And she's like, "Hey, Tracy, how are you? Remember, my name's Deandra." And I'm like, "Yeah, I remember you." She's like, "I'm the girl you helped in the hallway." And I said, "Yeah, hey, what's going on?" And she said, "Well, I actually moved to New York and I got a job with Queen Latifah, and I told her all about you, and you start tomorrow." Literally had
Great.
that one encounter of helping her help
Mhm.
me. And so when I started working at Queen Latifah, of course, my grind was different because most of the people who worked there was from New York. Remember, I'm from Cleveland. So I don't have time to get to work later on, or right on time. I have to be there early. And then I knew I wanted to produce. Mind you all, I'm just a production assistant, which is the lowest at the bottom. Just working real hard. When everybody left, I was still there. And my executive saw that and promoted me and Deandra to production, to associate producers, which is our job is to book stories, as you know, associate producer. Then I would still stay late. I would get under my producer, like, can I try to write your script? How can I help you? I was always interrupted. How can I help you? Let me just see. Let me try to write this part. And so I did that for a couple of months. And then one morning we were in our team meeting, as we always have. Queen Latifah was like, she calls me Tracie Potts. And so she's like, Tracie Potts, I think you can produce. You produce the next show. And I'm like, okay, but just think, all those months while everybody else was at home, I was in the studio getting under my producer to produce, learning how to produce. Wasn't going home as soon as I got off work. So when I was, when Queen Latifah just hit me out the blue, like, you're producing the next show, I was ready. I was nervous, but I was ready. So what I always tell students is make sure you're game day ready. Because what if I hadn't been staying after and learning under my producer? Guess what? When she would have called on me, I would not have been ready. And there's no telling if I would have got that chance again. So I produced the show, and it was one of their top rated shows. And right after that, my exec was like, you're a producer this day forward. And it went like that. And remember, as your title goes up, so does your money. So remember,
Beautiful.
all it is an investment in you.
Oh, well, those are great words, Tracie, right? Because I think for everybody, probably that's on this webinar, there's always that feeling of when do I start to get paid, right? And we all know that that internship is invaluable because that is pay, right? That's teaching you what you need to know to grow.
Yes.
So, you know, recognizing as you moved forward that you were investing in yourself. I love that. Let's talk about that a little bit more, that whole concept of, being open to what's available because it is an investment in yourself.
Mm-hmm. You want to, some people think that if I'm doing this for free, oh no, sometimes doing it for free is your best lesson. And what you want to remember, what I always tell people is quality costs. Quality costs. That's going to be the difference between make a top dollar or make a minimum. But in that, you want to learn as much as you can. So if you're not getting paid to work on a particular assignment, but you're learning so much, that's the pay. As long as you're a professional, as long as you're showing up on time. I can't tell you how many people have worked with me. Oh, Tracie, I just want to work with you. Didn't charge me a thing. But guess what? When my phone rang, hey, Tracie, this is what I'm looking for, such and such, such. Oh, I got the perfect person. Sent them over. They end up getting jobs. So it just goes like that. So never think what you're doing is in vain. I also, and this is just a personal opinion of mine, also think community service is important. Giving back is so important because that's another way of learning. As you guys know, as Linda mentioned, I'm the PR rep for the National Association of Black Journalists, the Cleveland chapter. As you know, we don't get paid. It's an organization. We all volunteer our time, but our impact is humongous. As you all know, in 2025, Cleveland will be hosting the National Association of Black Journalists convention here. That's going to bring 10,000 plus people to the city of Cleveland. So imagine how many job opportunities and money that revenue that's going to bring into the city of Cleveland. One organization where everybody volunteers for free, but guess what? So many people will be impacted and actually make money. So again, volunteering your time is always important, in addition to always sharpening your tools. So as you go to the Ohio Media School, really get under those professors and learn as much as you can. I remember when I was there, I got really close to my professor's name, Dave. And he just had such an impact on me. I would stay late. He would teach me how to edit. He was just so hands-on with me. And I just really appreciated everything that I learned from him. And also reach out to your fellow alumni. You can go in there to Janice and them and say, hey, what is alumni doing? Who can I reach out to? A lot of people don't know. And I don't know about your generation because you guys are probably young. But Mr. Mix, who graduated from the Ohio Media School, a lot of people don't know. He's the DJ of the Two Live Crew. They are a Grammy-winning group that still travels the world. And he lives here in Cleveland, and he graduated from the Ohio Media School. And a lot of people don't know that. I didn't know that. And when I found out, we've been like this ever since. So just another little nugget.
Yeah, build your network. And I think that, it always pays dividends. I think as we've had guests, all through this whole series, they remind us how valuable the people you meet. And another thing that is often said, and maybe you can expound on this, is you started to say, speak what it is that you want.
Yeah.
If even though you have one kind of a job, let's talk about how you talk about what your goals are to the people that you're working with.
Great question. So you want to speak what your goals are and you want to write them down. I get up every morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, every day, even on Sunday. I pray, I write my list, and then I start my day because I need to see where I'm going, what I've accomplished, and where I'm headed to. It's important to write your goals down and know what they are. But in doing so, Linda, as I stated before, you have to be ready to put in the work, and excuses are not an option. You can't make excuses. You have to make adjustments. Prime example, COVID hit us all and it was devastating. And so, the TV studios were shut down, a lot of radio stations shut down. We had to adjust what became our new normal. So I knew that I still wanted to work in TV. So I learned online. I saw this guy, because again, on social media, I don't necessarily follow my friends. I follow people I aspire to be like Oprah Winfrey, Tamron Hall, Tyler Perry, Warren Buffett. I just follow people I aspire to be like in some way, or people I can learn from. So on social media, this guy that I didn't know, how sometimes people's pictures will just pop up on your screen, and he had a certificate for a COVID compliance officer. And then I kept seeing jobs for COVID compliance officers. So I said, let me see what this is. And so with the COVID compliance officer during COVID, and even now, studios, TV studios, film studios, radio studios, they cannot operate without having a COVID compliance officer on site. They have to have a COVID compliance on site, especially in film and TV. So I said, okay, I found out how to do it. I went online. It was like an hour course. I think it was maybe a 4 hour course. Took the course, took the test, got 100% on the test. They sent me my certification. So when I went to apply for my next job, which was the Rio in California, my executive said, well, what makes you so different? And I said, well, I have my degree in communications. I went to Ohio Media School, and I'm a licensed COVID compliance officer, which means if the CDC walk in here at any time, the executive takes the hit. So I said, so if the COVID compliance officer is even 5 minutes late, I can step in that role. I was able to sell myself. I literally was the only person in all of Warner Brothers, so I know, and that was a COVID compliance officer other than the person they hired to do the job. So my exec knew she never had to worry because I was in the very next office. We had to be at work at 8. I was there at 4. No, I'm sorry. I was there at 5 or 6. I just get up early. I was no late. I never walked in the office no later than 6:30. But that was just me because I understood I'm in California. I have a different kind of fight. I don't have time to play. I want to win. I want to win big. I'm working with A-list celebrities on this show. They're all millionaires. So I want to learn from them. I want to, rub off on them. So I'm not going to get to work late. I'm going to get there very early. So my exec knew she had a strong producer and she had a COVID compliance officer. So she never had to worry on both ends.
That is so awesome. So I love that you say you were going to win. You were going to win. You were going to do these things and you were going to win. For some of the people that are listening, because of course these are people really across the country, but they're student and alumni across our 7 campuses also. If you can't do in New York City, we do have schools in Chicago, very fortunate to have all the studios in Chicago. What would you recommend, in order to get yourself seen? What if you want to break into entertainment in a city like Cleveland or a city like Denver? What would you recommend as steps to take?
I would say you have to once again network. Every student, I'm assuming every city, just like we have in Cleveland, we have the film commission, we have GCUF, Greater Cleveland Film Festival. We have so many arenas where you could go and get yourself involved. But I still would encourage you, if you really want to go deep into the industry, go away, go to those other cities, take projects, and then you can always come back. Like, when I left, I worked at Tyler Perry Studios. I was a producer on Divorce Court. I knew I had to leave. I still live in Cleveland, but I don't mind relocating for projects. I will do that. Go to film festivals. Make sure you're attending these different events. But again, Be game day ready. Like, don't waste anybody's time, because your image is everything. And what we're going to know about you is how you present yourselves to us. And if you're talking about being on camera, one thing, and Linda and I talked about this before, keep your social medias clean. I cannot stress that enough. There are so many opportunities that we had to turn down people because we saw their social media pages. No matter what anybody tells you, I'd say 90% of the industry, definitely executives, they want to know what that social media page is like. I have never worked for an executive and booked a story or booked a person, and then my exec didn't say what's up with the social media, what does it look like? Especially when you're dealing with big networks, they're not going to gamble on anybody that could potentially cost them a lawsuit, or potentially just seems as though, you know what, this is going to be too much work to deal with them. So it's a no, because there's 100 more like you that are hungry and be ready to go. So please keep your social media pages clean. If you have a breakup, don't play so. I wouldn't encourage playing slow music behind it, like saying things. Keep it professional, because you have a goal. Like me, sometimes people get on my nerves and I want to post certain things on my social media, but I don't. I made a promise to myself the day I signed up for social media. I said it will always be positive, uplifting, and promoting either what I'm doing or what somebody else is doing. I will never put anything negative or degrading on my social media, and I never have. So that's
Absolutely.
another nugget. Keep your social medias clean if you can.
Yeah,
And then just
that's
remember, what you present is what you're showing us your worth is. Like, I know there's shows like Bad Girls Club and this, that, and the third, for example. So if I see you and I want to book you, I already know I can. There's nothing that I can do with you except the drama stuff, because you've shown me that. That's what you represented for yourself. So always remember, you are a walking brand. The way you present yourself at all times. When you step out the house, don't have your slippers on and your house coat or your bonnet because you're running to the corner store. As soon as you hit that door, know that you are a brand. Just think about the clothes we wear. A lot of them have a label. That's a brand. That's a family business. Gucci, Prada, Louis, all those are brands. You are a brand too. So just always remember that about yourself, and move accordingly. I told the story before, and your delivery is important. I told the story before, when I was working at BET, there was a young lady that I liked. She had the look that I needed for this particular shoot that we were doing. She had the look, and I knew I was going to negotiate up to $5,000, and I only needed her for 40 minutes. But that's how bad I want her. My exec said, you go up to 5,000. The second she opened her mouth, the second she started talking, I knew I wasn't going over $150. I knew it. So it, like, even getting to 500 wasn't optional, because I knew the work it was going to take me to get her camera ready and to verbalize things I needed her to say and do. So I said, with the work it's going to require for me to work with her, no, this is what she's getting. And not to be mean or rude, this is just the business. People want to pay little but get a lot. That's just how the world works a lot of times, but quality costs. So if you go anywhere and you're coming with these credentials and people can see that you can do the work and you can sell yourself, then guess what? Money will always talk. And they're like, we'll do what we got to do to get you if we want you that bad. I mean, I worked on a show and the people were just like, no, we don't want to do the show. We won't do it. And I said, they don't want to do it. I told my exec. He was like, I don't care what they said. You get them. I literally got in the car. Well, I'm sorry. I literally flew to their city. My exec set up a limo. I went there with flowers and cash in hand and knocked on their door. That's how valuable they were to us for this particular story that I needed. So,
yeah.
no, there's always value. It just depends on what you're bringing to the table. So,
That's so inspiring, just to listen to is so inspiring. So, you really have to have that self-actualization, right? You have to recognize that you are that brand, and it's easier to work with somebody who wants to work with you, right, than to work with somebody that it's going to be so much work just to reel them in.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
really valuable advice. I believe there's some questions in the chat. Hood, did you want to maybe open up the chat a little bit for
Yeah.
some questions?
Yeah, I see we've got a couple here. It looks like Dennis has a question. You want to jump in and ask that, Dennis?
Thank you very much for being with us, Miss Potts. I really appreciate
My
your
pleasure.
knowledge and your expertise. You pretty much touched on it, but how important is self management? I know everybody wants to be a manager of a team or anything like that, but what how important is self management, and really how does it incorporate into your brand? It seemed like you answered most of my question in that last answer, but I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Dennis. And that was a great question. Self management is very important because that sets the tone for your day, that sets the way you interact. And some of self management is also listening and being knowing when to follow and knowing when to lead. And that self management plays a big role because sometimes I've met people that they thought they knew it all. So it was nothing for me to tell them or speak into them because they came with, well, yeah, they shot me with their credentials. I did this. And I said, okay. They didn't know what I was coming to the table with. They just told me what they had and what they were going on. And I'm like, well, she's reached her cap and really what the person had did was just podcast in Cleveland. So it was like there was so much information I could have gave this person, but by how they presented themselves, it's like I know it all. I'm cool where I'm at, so that's fine. So self management is knowing when to also take advantage of opportunities and to humble yourself so you can get in the door and get further. And showing self management is also showing how much of an asset you are. I always say to people, you're one or two things. Either you're an asset or you're a liability. You have to line up and find out what that is for you. So you already know self asset is speaking into yourself, speaking your words of affirmation, getting up early, reading, writing, because you never know when the opportunity comes. And again, you want to be game day ready. I can't stress that enough. Put yourselves in a positions where you can be game day ready for the opportunity.
Mic check.
Excellent.
That's fantastic. Thank you.
Thank
I do
you.
see John has a question. He did say that his mic is on the fritz, so I'm going to read it. He says, "Hello, thank you for speaking with us today. What was the biggest hurdle you had to come across when getting into the industry, and how can we prepare ourselves to minimize the gravity of our first hurdle or hurdles?"
John, great question. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm excited and honored to be here. Two hurdles, John. Getting in the NBC PACE program was hard. It was harder than I didn't think it was hard because they didn't tell us, all that we had to go through. So here again, John, is where being hungry plays a role. And I mean hungry. Like I'm not accepting no for an answer. So John, the first time when we got to NBC, we got the interview, I drove to no, I'm sorry. We flew to New York. I'm scared of heights, never flew before in my life, but I got on that plane because I needed to get to that interview. Got to the interview, passed it. They're like, okay, now you have another interview. Come back. And we're like, oh, okay, another interview. Again, they didn't tell us it was three. So we're like, okay. Second time I went to New York, I drove. Got off work, drove through the night, got to New York, John, okay? When I walked into the interview a few minutes before it started, hair disheveled, had on the same stuff from last night because I didn't realize New York was so far from Cleveland. As soon as I walked in the interview, they were like, what happened? I said, I rode through the night. I wasn't missing this interview for anything. They were so impressed. They were like, you're done. We don't even need to interview you. Just your tenacity and determination to get here was all we needed. I drove all those hours, never spoke to anybody. They were just like, you're past second interview. Third interview, of course, I flew and it was great. Passed it. We had to take a test and passed that. And then I got in. So that was the first hurdle. The second one, John, was when I got in at Divorce Court at Tyler Perry Studios. I had left the industry for a while and came back to Cleveland just to work on some family stuff and raise my son. And so when my exec, see here again, John, is where networking comes in. Remember my friend Deandra that I told you about who got me in Queen Latifah? So when I left the industry for a while, Deandra kept going. She got promoted and we stayed in touch. So she got promoted to executive. So now her first year as executive, she calls me like, Tracie, You ready to get back in the game? And I said, yeah. You know, I would do little stuff here in Cleveland. Like I did American Idol and a couple of other shows when they came here. And so I said, yeah. So mind you, everybody else is from California or Atlanta. I am the only person, once again, John, that have came from Cleveland. And I have not worked on shows in years. These people work for Oprah, Dr. Phil, you name it, they were with the big hitters. So everybody's looking at my exec like, why again did you bring this girl from Cleveland? Tell me again. And so she just was like, you'll see. And I worked my tail off. Again, while everybody else was at home, I was in the studio refreshing myself, writing the scripts to the point when my shows, and a couple of my shows now, I think I got still 4 million followers on one show I did with Judge Toller, like it always comes on. It's like one of the most popular segments. So long story short, John, once I got my flow, it got to the point where producers was like, whoa, Tracie's no joke. Like one time, Judge Toller literally got off the stage and was like, you are giving me everything I need. This is crazy. And when we went up for the Emmy Award, they choose 5 shows, they choose 5 of the best shows that aired. And 3 of mine went up for the Emmy out of 5 selected. So that just goes to show you how hard I was in the grind, John. So again, just grind. And I'm not saying work yourself to death. When you love what you're doing, it's not work. But when you're in a position where you know, I didn't come to play, I want to win, I want to beat my competition, that hunger brings out that extra creativity.
That's great stuff. Thank you so much. Philip, are you back in?
Mic check. Can you guys hear me?
Oh, we're so happy. Hey, I held it pretty well, I think, for a half hour.
You handled it well. I feel like I should just continue letting this happen, and I'm just gonna stay on the background and just
I'm gonna
let y'all
bring
do
you.
it.
You know what? I'm gonna have Phil take over because just briefly our little PSA for this group. Philip comes with a lot of background to this moderator position. He has Unplugged magazine. He's a content creator. He's a TV show producer. He was an instructor in our Columbus campus, and he's now joined us in Cincinnati as our career service director. And how fortunate those students are and graduates are down there to have Philip. But he really knows this industry backwards and forwards, and he knows the curriculum. So I think it's a really good time, Philip, if you were following us over the last segment, maybe to jump in with the questions, maybe more focused on curriculum, and then of course opening the floor for open mic. Tracie, it was a lot of fun. You're so awesome.
And
Philip,
thanks,
the
and you
mic
too, you
is
did a
for
great
you.
job.
Thank you.
Do we want to take the 2 hands that are raised? Are we still
Sure.
doing Q&A, or?
I think so.
Okay. All right. Walter, you want to jump in with your question, and we'll try to keep it brief because I know we want to ask Tracie some more questions.
Yes, thank you. Hey, how you doing, Tracie? This is CJ.
Hi, CJ, how are you?
I'm great. Question for you. Um, Around Cleveland, what are some of the volunteer events that are available for us to do?
Great question. I would say get involved with GCUF, the Greater Cleveland Urban Film Festival. They do a lot. They try to bring a lot of projects to the city in the way of film. You can also become a part of my organization, which is the National Association of Broadcasters, the Greater Cleveland Association. Our door is always open. You have veterans like Harry Boomer, Leon Bibb. They're always hungry to educate the younger generation. But of course, if you join, it's a big responsibility. So of course, we want people that are really hungry to work because our impact really makes a difference in the city. I also involve myself with Life Bank, which is the organ procurement organization. I go out in the community and I help people to become registered organ, eye, and tissue donors. So just those are some things that I could think about. But of course, any of the nonprofit organizations, I recommend those too, because that, the breast cancer awareness, liver awareness, like I do all those walks, all those people there. You're volunteering, so you get to meet the presidents of the company, the supervisor, like you meet heavy hitters. Just me doing Life Bank one year, I got tickets to go to like their dinner. It was like a $5,000 per person dinner. I got free tickets, and there was nothing but doctors, surgeons, lawyers, all in there. Once again, I'm in a room where I can do great networking and for free, just off my volunteer services. So those are some things that I would recommend.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. I will be in touch.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Let's
Philip, you
turn it
want to
over.
take over?
Yeah, let's keep it going. We've got two more fans up, and then we'll pivot back to some of these questions. Tracie, you're doing phenomenal. I'm loving everything that I'm hearing, and I'm sure the students and alumni and professionals are loving it too. So let's keep it going. Kyrie, you've got the floor. Go ahead and introduce yourself and ask your question.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Kyrie. I want to thank you, Tracie, for enlightening me on everything. Basically, you kind of like basically told me about myself because I was one of those ones that ran my mouth a lot before I listened. I was actually one of those ones that did not keep my Facebook clean. I literally just deleted it and made my business page.
Awesome.
But I wanted to ask you if how do you go about things like if you feel like when you working at jobs trying to get money to start a business, but the jobs are not like suitable for you, and what do you do about that? Because like I want to expand myself and I want to go places, but I know I need money to do that. So how do you go about these type of things?
Kyrie, that was a great question, and I'm proud of you for getting your social media how it needs to be. Again, never stop learning, never stop growing. There's a program it's on Carnegie. It's called Jumpstart. And that's an excellent program for young entrepreneurs to get involved who want to start their business. My friend Larice Purnell, he's a great person to follow. He actually is always doing money management classes. Actually, he did a 4-week course 2 weeks ago that I just graduated out of. I took the course myself, and he had all the presidents from these different organizations. All of them were millionaires, and they actually sat and taught us the ins and outs of business. I'm talking about, now I have a master's degree in business, and I never seen it broken down the way they did. This is again what I'm talking about going out, networking, because you're going to start meeting people. Like one thing I learned, Kyrie, when you do your part and you're passionate, God will start positioning people in your life to help you go on that journey, because none of us can do it alone. You just have to do your part. So definitely follow Larice Purnell because he's a money management guru. He's always about businesses. If you all went down to Tower City during the NBA All-Star Weekend, that was Larice. He put 250 Black business owners in Tower City, and I know the city made over $1 million in revenue, way more, because again, he got all these businesses together and put them in downtown so they can make money. Think about it. And the strategic thing about that was, if you want to get to the gun arena or the Q or whatever we're calling it now, you got to go through Tower City if you don't want to go outside in that snow. So they were hitting everybody. I even went down there and bought stuff just to support. And the NBA told him, because he did the whole NBA experience, and the NBA told him they've never seen an event like this in the history of the NBA. So, and that again happened in Cleveland, Ohio. So just positioning yourself to be in the room with people who are doing what you want to do. So that's what I would suggest. So Jumpstart, that's a good one. And then Larice Purnell, because he's always having events for young entrepreneurs.
You are awesome. I didn't even know how to answer that question, and you just made sense for me. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Kyrie. We're going to go with Frankie, and then what we're going to do is pivot, and then Silk will come back to you in a moment. Frankie, you've got the last question before we pivot. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you again for doing this. I was curious because I'm also Cleveland based, originally a graduate of Lombard, but ended up back here. Is there ways you would know how to pivot towards like music based careers within the industry?
Frankie, great question. I would say once again, going out to these different events, Actually, I was out at Sam Silk's last night getting dinner, and they had a band in there that was just awesome. I was just running there to get quick takeout. The band was so phenomenal that I stayed and listened to the music. So if you are a musician, I would say, go to these different places that have open mic nights or just let musicians come in. And if you're good, they will, I'm sure, let you still come in and perform. And then that could be like a gig you could do on the side or take it to the next level. I would say some of the concerts that are in the city, a lot of times, go to those, small and big, network, get yourself in those rooms. But again, doing volunteer work or just going to networking events, you would be surprised how many musicians are actually in the room. I talk to
Nice.
people all the time and they're like, oh, I play this, I play that. Never knew. So that's what I would say do.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So
Thank you,
basically,
Frankie. Thank you, Frankie. We're going to give the floor to the Silk. Go ahead and ask your question, and then we're about to pivot. We have 14 minutes left. 14 minutes left. So, go ahead and ask your question.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you. I have heard you speak about the Urban Film Festival and the other organization that you are involved in. And I am in Cincinnati. So, do they have a branch or chapter here of those organizations that we can look up and find and get involved with?
Absolutely. So the NABJ is a national organization and every city has a chapter. So there is definitely a city, there's a chapter in Chicago, I'm sorry, in Cincinnati. So if you give your information to Hoda or Linda, I will contact you personally and get you connected with the point people in Cincinnati so you could get involved in the organization there. Yeah, because I'm sure Cincinnati has a chapter. Mm-hmm.
So much. I appreciate that.
Oh, no problem, Silk. Thank you.
All right. So, Tracie, you've been hitting on like all points. You're firing on all cylinders. Everybody is hearing everything that you've got to say. You're making me want to come back to the 216 just to say what's up. So, here's a question for you. All of these students, graduates, even professionals, being in this industry, demo reels are important.
Mm-hmm.
Constantly making. Once you make your demo reel, you're always making a demo reel. So, what is your advice to everyone listening about a demo reel?
Great question. You do want to make your demo reel the best that you can make it, but show your authentic self. Show a little of your personality. I would suggest you don't have to be so by the book to the rules. Like show a little bit of your personality because that's what people want to see. Nowadays with the demo reels, in my opinion, they're changed because you have broadcasters and even your meteorologists. Well, I know I'm saying it wrong. Your weather people, they are actually entertaining. They really are. Like it's this one guy, I think he's out of New York or maybe Atlanta. He dances like to the point he's become a celebrity because he dances while he's telling the weather and broadcasting it, and people just love him. He wears these nice suits, and as soon as I see him, I'm just like, I know it's going to be a blast. Like even the celebrities come on just to interact with him. So again, just make your reel your own. Let people see your authentic personality because networks are going to get hundreds of demo reels. What makes you different? What makes yours stand out? What's so engaging about you? And that's what people have to remember. When we're watching TV, we want to be engaged. We want to be brought in. What's with that first 30 seconds that you got of my time? What's going to keep me from turning the channel?
So, with that being said, the question when you say be your authentic self, where is the line between being entertaining and acting a fool on TV? Where is that line that someone who wants to be engaging, but at the same time, they don't want to play an idiot or a slapstick on TV? Where's that line at?
Good question. And I would say that line is, of course, you want to stay professional. You can be engaging and still stay professional. For example, I could get on and say, hi, Philip, how are you? Today's weather is going to be, it's rainy outside. It's going to be cloudy all day. Or I could say, hey, Philip, guess what? Today's weather is going to be, it's going to be sunny outside. Okay, so you make sure you put on your little suntan because it's going to be sunny, but also it's going to rain later on. So bring your raincoat out so you can have both the best words. You can be in early if it's going to rain and get out there and enjoy that sunshine. Back to you, John, in the studio. So again, I'm professional and I'm no anchor loud, but I'm professional, but I'm still engaging. I'm coming with the excitement behind it. So again, everybody's different. So that's why you got to be your authentic self, but still being professional. Hope that makes sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What would you say would get graduates noticed?
Once again, Philip, good question. What's going to get graduates noticed is the work they have put in, the networking they have put in, the quality of the product they have put out. That is what's going to get graduates noticed. There were two young men that I am sorry I cannot remember their names, but I have to see their names. They came to the P Valley event that I had, and they were so professional, on time. Matter of fact, they were both there like an hour or two early, set up, ready to go, had their equipment on deck. So they not only did, they filmed Shamika, who she plays the coach's wife on P Valley. She's my line sister. But then they also had their own mic, so they were able to do interviews with her. They were able to talk to people in my organization. They were dressed very nice, very professional, to the point I was like, hey, come here, give me this interview, Like, it was to the point that I was like, hey, y'all my right hand people tonight, because they were so professional and easy to work with, pleasant. So like, I would love to work with them again because they were just so professional. I gotta look up their numbers now because I got both of their numbers.
That was me, Tracy. That was CJ. I
I
appreciate you.
CJ, yes, they were
Yeah, I
just
appreciate
wonderful, and they were great representations of the Ohio Media School. CJ, call me, honey, because I have been thinking about you. Make sure you call me.
I
So
will do.
yes. So see what I'm saying? People like CJ, I don't forget. So definitely, like I said, I'm here now working on a show for VH1. So absolutely, and of course, any opportunities that I come up for a camera guy. Matter of fact, CJ, I was looking for your number because I did I was having problems with my phone. I see what I'm saying. I did this summer. I was working for Revolt, which is Puff Daddy's network. Everybody knows. And so we had to cover the Jalen Walker story. So since I was in Cleveland, they hired me to go down and to cover his funeral. And they needed a camera guy. And CJ, I owe you lunch for that. I was like, I got this guy. And I was like, my phone was about, I got this guy, but I promise you was at the top of my list. So again, I remember CJ just being so professional and game day ready. So that's what I would say to the students.
So I want to keep going, but right now we are, let me see, 8 minutes away. So we're about to do this lightning round because I have students and people that are watching right now that have questions. So the way this lightning round is going to go, without all of the extra narrative, when we give you the floor, ask your questions. Make sure you throw your hands up. Everybody right now, if you have a question, hit that raise hand button so that way we can call on you. When we call on you, don't give a whole bunch of narrative. Ask a question, be quiet, because Tracie has 30 seconds to answer it so we can get to everybody. Hands are popping up. All right. So with that being said, Tracie, you ready for this?
I am.
All right, here we go. Sarah, go ahead with your question. And Tracie, you got 30 seconds to answer it.
You got it.
Hi. So I was wondering what advice do you have for somebody that wants to branch off from their social media platform into freelance?
I would just say do it. I would just say do it. If you want to start freelancing again, go to networking events, and if you don't know where networking events are, Eventbrite is a great place to go. Just type in the name, or you just type your city in, and all these events will pop up. Go there, start networking, and then that'll be a great segue into branching off. Because I'm telling you, when you network, you go to these events, you will meet people that are interested in the same stuff as you.
All right. Joanne C., you've got the floor. Ask your question.
Hi, thank you for doing this. quick question. How do I transition from radio to television without having too much television experience, just what I learned in school?
Great question, Joanne. I did the same thing. Start being around those type of things. Again, the NBC Page program is a great one. CBS has one too. You can start applying for TV jobs. Go to staffmeup.com. They have all positions. They always are hiring for different TV shows and networks. You would start at the bottom as a production assistant and work your way up.
David Frazier, you got the floor. Go for it.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Miss Tracie, quick question for you. The question I have is, for an individual that does podcasting as myself, what would you say or recommend for a person to go from podcasting into TV, if it makes sense?
Yeah, great question. And you can actually still do both. Same advice I just gave the other young lady. I would say if you want to get into TV, those same things. Staffmeup.com or is it staffmeup.org? It's one of those two, but they post new job postings every day.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Tracie. Thank you.
Kayla, question, go for it.
Hello, Miss Tracie. My question was, what was the name of your organization that you said that was really yours? What was the website or the Instagram name?
Which one, honey? I'm sorry.
You said the Greater Cleveland.
Oh, GCA, yeah, the Greater Cleveland Association of Black Journalists. Greater Cleveland Association of Black Journalists.
Okay, and that's the one you run.
Yeah, I'm currently in it. I'm the PR chair.
Okay, thank you.
And all are welcome to come to our meetings. We meet the first Saturday of every month. I'll give you my Instagram before we get off, so everybody can follow me and contact me, and I'll stay in touch with you all as well.
Okay,
hey, Tracie, I'm sorry, before you jump into that, maybe mention the upcoming event for Clevelanders, you know, the event where they can come to Media Day.
And thanks, man.
Sure.
Yes. So we did Media Day back in July. Some of the students from Ohio Media School came. It was such a huge success at Tracie. We will be doing it again. And all the members of the National Association of Black Journalists Cleveland chapter will be there. If you want to become a member, you can sign up there to become a member as well. We'll all be there. And this is an event that I put together for our organization. So I would love to see you all out. So I don't want to hear nobody asking questions. If you don't show up to this free event, and we probably won't do it again. This is our first time in history doing it, and it was such a success. They asked my president and I to do it again, so we are.
Okay, and let me jump in one more time, Philip, just for everybody on the call. This organization exists in every city. So, you know, we just have the Greater Cleveland here and happen to have Tracie right here. So again, that's additional information we can get to you, but look them up. You know, and learn more, because these are professionals really wanting to mentor young people going into media, and there's no better way to learn than from the pros themselves. So floor back to you, Philip.
All right, time got ate up a little bit, but we got 3 minutes, which means we have 1 minute. Roger, you got a chance. Go ahead, ask a question. Tracie, you got 10 seconds to answer it.
Okay.
Roger.
Can you hear me?
Barely, but go for it.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hi, Tracie, quick questions. I've done some background work with different casting companies. However, I just want to transition full-time into media. What would be the best advice to do that and just leave the background casting alone?
Can you say it, Philip? I didn't hear what he said.
He wants to leave from background casting and go into full-time.
Right now,
he's in the background, he's casting in the background, and he wants to go full-time.
Full-time into the casting?
Acting, right, Roger? Sounds like he's a background actor and he wants to be going to the front of the camera, having speaking parts. That's what it sounds like.
Okay, well, make sure you so Roger, I would say you want to get, become a member of AFTRA, of course. And I would say, again, go on more auditions. I know Cleveland has the film commission here. We have GCUV. They're always looking for actors in front of and behind the camera. Take advantage of the Caramel House as well, because they're always doing plays and things of that nature.
All right, Silk, go for your question.
Okay, I am literally just like a just starting student. I've only been in class a week. But I'm ready to jump in and submerge myself. I mean, the fact that I don't really know a lot, is it still, I still be trying to get in those particular spaces where people, like right now, really where I'm fresh and I don't know anything, or should I wait? At least, maybe a month or so till I'm in the class to get there.
Nope, don't wait. Jump right into it, because that's how you learn. Like, you can go to any events, as you can come to the event on November 5th at Tracie. And you got to get under people who are doing what you want to do. That's how you learn. So don't wait. Every day is precious. Maximize every day.
Last question. Jaden, you got the floor. Ask your question.
Hello, Mr. Phillip. Thank you. I'm Ms. Tracie. I hope you're having a good day. So I'm located here in Chicago, but I would love to do an interview with you. I have my own show called A Day with Jay. And I know that you said that you would drop your, Instagram and all your socials and stuff. So I would love to connect and get an interview with you, if that's all right.
Sure, Jay. I will be honored to do it. Absolutely. Yep.
Thank
you. You're welcome.
All right. That concludes our time. Tracie, thank you so much. You guys will be able to reach out to her. I think you said you're going to give out your email or your contact information.
Yep. So my email is my name, traciepotts5@yahoo.com. Tracie is spelled TraciiePotts. Tracie Potts 5, and it's on the flyer. traciepotts5@yahoo.com. My social media is Travion Love. TRAYVEION Love. TRAY Trey. VEION Love. Travion Love is my social media, and I'm always on my page.
That works. But thank you so much, Tracie. All I got to do is, thank you so much for joining in. And since I know you Greek blue fi, so.
Okay. Hi. And real quick, guys, before you go, if you want to get in touch with me directly, if it's important, contact Linda or Hoda. They know how to get in touch with me directly.
All right.
But my Instagram is perfect. Get in touch with me.
You know what? I'm going to bring us to an end here. It was such a joy. Everybody stuck around for this full hour. I feel like we could do hours with you, Tracie. You are a plethora of information, and we really appreciate. Tracie has shared with you her personal email. So, please reach out with questions, that she can help you with, not your personal life questions, right? Because she's really here to mentor you and support you, as we all are. And Tracie, you were just fabulous, and we look forward to seeing you at the event coming up and sharing your information out, and I'll be in radio contact.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was an honor. I'm truly blessed and honored to be here, and I hope you all were able to take some things away and go out there and be great.
Yep.
The world
And
needs gifts.
I love that. I'm gonna do a shameless plug for anybody that has joined us that really doesn't know about the programs that we have to offer. Please, take a minute if you would like and contact us. There's contact information on that initial sign up if you want to learn more about our digital media program or any of our media programs that might help you to find success. We would love to be able to chat with you. But most importantly, as Tracie said, go out and make it happen.
Yes, yes.